Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel and to some brand new 2024 content. I'm very excited about this year. I'm feeling refreshed, re-energized, and I have high hopes, and I have content that I'm eager to share. This year, well, no, not this year. This video, I'd like to start off with a book haul. These are the books that I accumulated when I was back in Texas, when I was back in the US for the holidays. Some of these books are books that I purchased, and some of these books are books that I left behind when I moved to Japan because I couldn't carry all the unread books that I had. I couldn't bring them all. So little by little, I've been bringing them back to the US. So there's a good mix, and there's a good mix of nonfiction and fiction, and I'm really excited about how I have refreshed my TBR. I'm also very, very excited about this sweater. I think it was the most awesome purchase I made. I had doubts, but now looking at it in the camera, I'm very, very excited. So fresh, bright beginnings for the new year. Very excited. So let's get into what I purchased, and I want to start with the nonfiction because I most recently posted a video saying all the nonfiction books I would buy if I could, basically. And a lot of the books in that video are included here. And yeah, let's get into it. So the first book that was in this video that I was able to get my hands on was Jon Krakauer's Missoula, Rape and the Justice System in a College Town. So just as the subtitle states, this is about just the idea of the big social issues we are having right now in the United States about rape on college campuses. Jon Krakauer is a author I very much trust. Into Thin Air was amazing. His book about Mormonism, Under the Banner of Heaven, was fantastic. Really loved that. And this is just another one of his works that I'm just super excited to read this year. Next is a book that I actually hadn't mentioned in that video because it just wasn't on my wish list for Amazon. But then I realized that, oh wait, no, it's in my head. It's up here. I know I wanted to buy another book by this author, and that is the author Thant Myint-U, and this is his nonfiction, The River of Lost Footsteps: A Personal History of Burma, with a new afterword on recent events. So the previous book I had read by him was a full-blown book about just the general history of Myanmar, Burma. He prefers to say Burma, and he explains it in his other book, which is The Hidden History of Burma, A Crisis of Race and Capitalism. But that book was absolutely fantastic. And this one, it's going to give you a few of the same ideas, but the thing that I was really interested about this one is that there's a lot more of himself in this one. And so I think it'll be nice to have a little bit more of a personal account of how he sees his own country of Burma, especially since he's a very notable person in the country. He's basically the guy you go to when you're doing international relations. He's always quite present for when presidents come together and join each other. He's always there for summits. He's there to give his advice and his expansive knowledge on this topic. So I'm very excited to have another book by him to read. Next is a book, another author that I've read several works by, so I very much trust her works. That is the author Chang. I have read her autobiography of Mao. I've also read her, not autobiography, I've read her biography of Mao. I've also read her biography of the Empress Dowager. Both were absolutely fantastic. And this time I got her most recent publication, Big Sister, Little Sister, Red Sister, Three Women at the Heart of 20th Century China. So once again, this kind of follows my current interest in like the China during the communist era. I know everyone's been telling me this, and this is it. I mean, I've had another book of hers on my wish list for like 20 years, which is The Wild Swans. I know, but I just haven't been able to find a clean copy of that, or like it's either like I kind of want the books to match in terms of size, and for some reason I can't, basically this was the purchase that made more sense at this point. But I will get to the Wild Swans book. It is going to happen. Obviously, I'm going to enjoy it. I know I'm going to enjoy it. I just need to find the right copy. But yeah, I'm very excited about this because she, as well, is just one of those authors that I really, really respect and really, really love. Now, the next book I want to mention is actually a book I purchased because I wanted to continue my nonfiction reading of basically Texas history or Native Americans in the US. That's kind of become a niche interest of mine in the past year. And so I ordered, based on the video where I talked about the nonfiction I wanted to buy, I had ordered the book, I can't think of the title, or I can think of, like, I can hear the words in my head, but I can't put the title together. I think it's Buried at Wounded Knee. So the very famous book. And I purchased that, but it didn't arrive in time. I already, like, the book was delayed. And I wasn't allowed to cancel the order. So that book won't arrive until, well, now I'm back in Japan, as you can see. That book won't arrive until, well, like, even like next week, I think. So my mom's gonna keep that on hold for me, and she'll give it to me next time I see her. But since I didn't have that option to bring back to me with Japan, I decided to buy another book, and that is Killers of the Flower Moon, The Osage Murders and the Birth of the FBI by David Grann. Now, there's actually, okay, so this book was a book I actually wasn't really planning on reading. I was interested. And the thing is that I'm definitely not interested in the movie because A, I don't like Scorsese. Or it's not that I don't even like him, but I just find I don't really enjoy his movies that much. They're obviously well done and they're like well filmed and things like that. But his style just doesn't vibe with me. And then the fact that Leonardo DiCaprio, also kind of the same thing. He's an actor, like I'll watch his movies once and then I never want to watch them again. There's just something about DiCaprio, other than Romeo and Juliet. I love Romeo and Juliet, and I've seen that movie 80 million times, and I always rewatch it. But I just thought, you know, it's very doubtful that I'm going to watch the movie, so I decided to go for the nonfiction instead. But there was still even hesitation to buy this because I was actually more interested in reading, and unfortunately I didn't look up her name before filming this video. I had the intention, but it wasn't there, but I will provide it in the description box because I want to promote this woman. But basically, before Killers of the Flower Moon even existed, there was already a book written by a woman. Now, it is fiction, but it is about the same topic. But she also won a prize. And I really wanted to go for that book first because I was kind of wondering if this isn't kind of the case of like a female author getting her content stolen by a male author and then obviously the male author's work is the one that becomes the big movie and things like that. Like, you know, like for me, I try not to do the whole, you know, male, you know, women versus men type thing. But there are cases where it's like, okay, there is a little bit of a bias here. There is a little bit of a, there is quite a bit of history of women being, having their work stolen by men and the men being praised for everything. So again, there was a little bit of hesitation on my part, but obviously her book is a lot harder to find and his book is easy to find because of the movie. So I did end up going with this one, but I do want to mention her work, and I do want people to be aware of it. So it will be in the description box and down below, so right next to this book. So definitely check that out if you're interested in seeing that. But yeah, still very excited to read this. I think it's going to be incredibly fascinating, and I know it's going to be a page turner. Now, a book that I had mentioned in that nonfiction video, it was a book that I have my eye on, but I wasn't, gosh, some of these books got kind of tossed around in my suitcase. My flight was delayed 80 million times, so my suitcase got moved 80 million times. So yeah, a lot of these books are not in the condition that I originally put them into my suitcase in, so that's very exciting. Thanks, guys. But yeah, this is a book that was on my list of books I would be interested in buying, but it wasn't a top priority. But I happened to find a really, really clean copy at the used bookstore, Half Price Books in Austin, Texas. And so I ended up purchasing it, and that is Under the Loving Care of the Fatherly Leader, North Korea and the Kim Dynasty by Bradley K. Martin. It's a big book, but I'm totally into big nonfiction books right now. That's my jam. That's where I'm most happy. Seriously, could they have... Sorry, like, it's not really a big deal, but I prefer books to be pristine when they can be, you know. If I like to keep them in the condition I receive them, at least. That's the thing. So anyway, in any case, again, this book, you know, it's a really big book, so it wasn't high on my priority list because I have quite a bit of other quite large nonfiction books that I need to get through. But because this was just sitting there and it was such a wonderfully clean copy, again, Half Price Books, so it was only $10 instead of like $26. So it was the moment to purchase this. It just perfect. So I grabbed this and very excited to read it. Now, the last book was something that was not at all on my radar. It was just sitting there and it just looked very appealing. And it was just absolutely beautiful. The copy was beautiful. And then it just screamed, okay, this is a me book. So it was on the shelf like this. So you can see it's got this really interesting binding. This isn't actually like, it's not torn. And this isn't like a painted, it's not like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like this, it's not like a normal spine where it's just like painted in this effect. This is actually it. You can actually visually see the book binding on this. But this nonfiction is called Our Story, a Memoir of Love and Life in China by Pingru. This is just this beautiful nonfiction book about this man who writes the memoir of the love story between him and his wife. And it is just full of, well, just his thoughts, but also his illustrations. And this is all going within communist China. So it's a really beautiful book. You can see the young couple when they are young, followed immediately by the end, the couple when they're, after many years of a blissful love story. So that's just absolutely amazing in papers. But if you just look at the book itself, it's just filled with all of these really beautiful illustrations, all done by him. And it's just an absolutely stunning looking book. So I am very excited about this. I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I think it'll be heart-wrenching at times, especially when you look at a few of the illustrations towards the end of the book. But obviously, you know, it is what it is when you, well, get older. But yeah, this is just going to be a beautiful book. I just know it. It says here that it spans from 1922 through 2008, and it's a tale of enduring love and simple values that is at once tragic and inspiring. So this was just one of those books. It was just like an easy buy. It was just like this serendipitous book where it was on the shelf. It was waiting for me to come in and buy it that day. So very excited. And looking this up online, this has many translations. So obviously there's the original Chinese version, but there's this English translation. But if you read other languages, I looked up online and there's so many translations of this book. So I think this is just like one of those like little niche, like actually super popular books, but kind of niche. So maybe it's not well known, but it is well known. But in any case, very excited about this book. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Now, that was all the nonfiction. Let's get into the fiction books that I purchased. So I just went on a little sci-fi kick because I wanted some easy, gosh, I think a lot of these books, I know what happened. All these books got stained blue because of my new blue jeans that I bought. That's what it is. I was wondering what all this blue paint on the side pages is. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, I guess I put them next to my new pair of jeans and it got stained. Oh well. Let's move on. But yeah, I always enjoy some science fiction. They're easy page turners, but they always have something to say about society that makes them really interesting. And they just really give you a beautiful viewpoint on current issues. So I found this beautiful copy of The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I've read 2 other works by this author. I've read her The Lathe of Heaven, and then I read her book. Ooh, I wish I could tell you what it was. It's not right in front of me. It's the one, The Dispossessed. That's what it is. It's her most famous one, The Dispossessed, which is a book, like The Lathe of Heaven, I thought was super, super fascinating. I loved it. And it was easy to read. The Dispossessed, I admit, was hard. Like, she is so smart that she's way smarter than I am. So that book was very difficult for me to read. I'm like, I don't think I'm understanding exactly what's going on. Like, I understand, but there's like so much more in this book that I don't have the ability to interpret very well. So she's very, very smart, but I wanted to try another book by her because obviously she's just a marvelous, marvelous writer. And I want to feel as smart as she is. So I bought that. And then I bought 2 books by John Wyndham. I bought, once again, these are also a little damaged. Darn it. I bought Trouble with Lichen, and I bought The Kraken Wakes. And I bought these because I thought these covers were stunning. I absolutely love these covers. I quite like the covers that John Wyndham gets for his books, but these are new editions. Like, even look at the spines. I absolutely love that. These are new editions. And it made me want to buy the books I already own in these editions, which isn't something I think very often. But these are just just absolutely beautiful. I love this illustrated style. I just think it's perfectly evocative of his works. But yeah, I got those because I just know that John Wyndham is an excellent author, and I've really enjoyed his work so far. Then I seem to be reading one Philip K. Dick book a year, and I finally found a nice copy of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? So I purchased this because it's such a famous book. I thought, okay, it's time to read it. Again, it's been on my radar for a very long time, but I never really liked the covers, or the size of the books were always a little awkward, but this is the first time that it was a normal size, normal edition. So I picked this up finally. Then I decided to go for 2 classics, again by authors I've read before, but I've only read 1 book, but they were both gorgeous books, very fun books, and I really wanted to read a second book by them. So I got The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. I read The Woman in White 2 years ago and was absolutely like blown away by that book. I could not, like, I thought about it day and night. I mean, there was a video where I was actually talking my thoughts in pitch darkness, and I posted that on YouTube because I just couldn't get my mind off this book. It was just absolutely fascinating and just super thrilling. So I wanted to try another Wilkie Collins book, so I grabbed The Moonstone. Don't even know what it's about. I just wanna try it. And then I got another book by Nyugiwa Tiongo, who I read last year for the first time. Which book was that? It's not going to come off the top of my mind, unfortunately. The River Between, there we go. The River Between I read, I believe last year, and it was absolutely gorgeous, and it was a topic that I really like, when it just discusses obviously white colonization in Kenya, but it also shows the divisive nature of old versus like traditional society versus new society, especially when it comes to foreign religion trying to seep through the cracks and divide more traditional societies, which is a topic I'm very interested in, because I've mentioned many times, I'm not a fan of organized religion, and so seeing how religion permeates societies and pretty much destroys them, for lack of a better word, or for the proper use of the word, I think is fascinating. So I got this book, Weep Not Child, because I wanted to read another book by this author, and I don't remember the blurb of this, but I think it definitely goes through a few of this most very similar themes as The River Between. So those are all the books that I purchased, which is quite a bit, especially since books are so expensive in the US. I just looked at some of these where I haven't taken off the label yet. $17. Like there were more books that I wanted to purchase. But like they were $18. And I'm like, these books are like, especially the ones I was looking at, some of them are only 120 pages. Like you can read those in an afternoon. $18 is a lot of money for a book. So yeah, American books are just so expensive. So yeah, I held back on a lot of new purchases because I was just like, I can't, who can afford this? Who can afford to read in the US? No wonder no one wants to read. But anyway, that's a digression. Now, these are some books that I already owned, but they were left behind again when I moved to Japan. So I decided maybe now's the time to bring them over. So I decided to pick out Out of Africa and Shadows on the Grass by Isaac Dinesen. This is a very famous movie, Out of Africa, with Meryl Streep. And Robert Redford. It's a movie I'm very well aware of. It's a story I'm very well aware of, but I've always wanted to read the book. And it's just about this woman who moves to Africa and just her life there, basically. So I've always wanted to read that. And then this is a book everyone tells me I need to read because it is, you know, part of my interests, or it includes my interests, although it is a book that I'm very hesitant about because I'm wondering if it's just actually not that well written. Like, I don't know. I've been very hesitant about it, but I've been told it's very good. So I am going to try it, and that's Pachinko by Myint-U. Very famous, about a family, or like a few generations of a family in South Korea, and the effect of the Japanese colonization on this family and whatnot. So definitely up there in terms of my terms of interest. I've just always been hesitant to read it just because, like, I'm really afraid of it turning like the book The Narrow Road to the Deep North by that Australian author who won the Booker Prize, because everyone loves that book, and it's a topic that I've read a lot about, like nonfiction and fiction both, about just basically like foreign prisoners of the Japanese army when Japan was basically terrorizing Southeast Asia. But the thing is, like, that book was so flowery, and it was just like, it was like so ridiculous in my mind. I just really disliked that book. So I've always kind of afraid that Pachinko will be the same thing, but I am going to read it and I'll see how I feel about it. It's, you know, you should try and avoid too much prejudice when you get into a book. Now, then I picked up, I brought back a few French language books. I picked up a Balzac. I picked up Eugénie Grandet, the very famous book by Balzac. I've recently started reading Balzac, discovered I really like his works. So very excited to read that. I grabbed 2 Japanese books in French translation. I wanted to avoid bringing too many Japanese books, especially since right now I haven't been reading them that much. I've taken sort of a step back from reading Japanese literature. And then I also have a habit of picking up Japanese literature only. So, but these 2 have been on my TBR for so long, I decided, okay, I'll just buy them. Or not buy them, I'll just bring them back. The first one is La Bête Aveugle, or The Blind Beast, by Edogawa Rampo. I've actually never read Edogawa Rampo, so it'll be interesting, I think, to finally read from this very classic and famous mystery writer. Like, if I am going to bring back a Japanese book, it should be this, basically. Like, that was the thought process behind this. So I grabbed that. And then it's been a while since I've read a Murakami Ryu, not Murakami Haruki. Make sure, like, everyone says, oh, I read a Murakami. Which one? Definitely add the first name when you're talking about Murakami in Japanese literature. But I picked up a Murakami Ryu because he's my favorite Murakami. And I picked up this one, which is La guerre commence au-delà de la mer. So war is beginning on the other shore. And this is a book I actually own also the Japanese, the original Japanese of this. But as you know, I can't read every single book in Japanese, especially right now, since I've been very lackadaisical about my Japanese studies, or my just Japanese in general. So I said, you know what, I need to accept that it's going to be a while before I head to the original Japanese. So I should just pick up this French translation that I own. And it'll be fine. It'll be okay. Like, I can read this. So I picked up this because I do like Myint-U, and it's been a while since I've read him. Then I grabbed a book. This sweater does shed, and my hair is shedding too. Anyway, I grabbed another book, L'Intérieur de la Nuit by Leonora Miano. This is a book about, I don't remember, but it's a Cameroonian author, and I bought this so long ago. This is maybe, I think it's been I don't know, maybe at least 10 years or so since I bought this. I'd have to look up when I purchased it. But I've had this for a long time, so I don't remember the blurb, but I bought it because it sounded interesting at the time, so it's probably still going to be interesting now. And I am very curious to read a book from Cameroon, as it's a country I haven't read from yet. So I purchased that, and then I brought it back, and then I brought back this book. It's actually 3 volumes, 1, 2, 3. This is a Norwegian classic. The book is called Le Livre de Dina, which is the book of Dina, or Dina's book, by Herborg Wassmo. This is a book, actually, I've already read the first 2 volumes before, but this was maybe like 15 years ago or so, and I don't remember anything about it. And even at that time, it was like a period in my life where I was reading, but I wasn't actually absorbing the information I was reading. So I put it down then. And I think it's just one of those like right book, wrong moments of life kind of situations. So I've always wanted to try it again. So I decided now would be the moment. But it just sounds really, really like a beautiful book. It's about this young woman in Norway, where when she was young, she had killed her own mother. And of course, she was abandoned by her surroundings because of this incident. And it's just her journey in life after that incident. So very classic book in Norway, and I really wanted to try rereading it. Then I grabbed 2 more books. One is a recent purchase that I actually purchased for my mom when we were in France last together, and she's already read it, so I have now grabbed it, and it is Cap vers la Liberté by Ana Maria Machado. This is a Brazilian book, which the original title is Mapa Todo Soy. I don't speak Brazilian, Portuguese, but sorry, I'm very distracted today. The weather is getting bad, and it's supposed to maybe snow in Tokyo tonight, which happens like only once per winter, but it's like amazing because it was so sunny this afternoon, and now it's very, very, very gray. But in any case, I grabbed this book because it just sounded really, really interesting. It has just, I don't even remember what it was about. I just remember it sounded interesting when I purchased it for my mom at the time. So very excited to read some Brazilian literature, because right now I've only read Machado de Assis, but like he was so amazing, and I've heard amazing things about Brazilian literature, so I wanted to experiment a little bit more. Then my final book is once again another Japanese book, but I've had it for a long time, and I thought now I should just read this. Like, it's been on my TBR for too long, and that is Le Bateau Usine by Kobayashi Takiji. Le Bateau Usine is what is a bateau usine? So in Japanese it's kanikosen. So the Japanese makes more sense. Kanikosen is a crab ship, so a crab fishing boat basically. So that is the title of the story in Japanese, and I don't know what it's about anymore, but I assume it's about fishing crab in Japan. But anyway, this was a book that was actually gifted to me by my mom quite a long time ago, maybe even like 10 years ago or so. But this is something that I've always been interested in reading, and I think now is the time. So there you go, a really, really big book haul. I think viewers of my channel, you guys know I don't have too many of these book hauls, so this is definitely, beginning of the year, refresh the TBR, especially the English language books, because I read so many English language books last year that my TBR was quite depleted, so I needed to refresh that. And then I also needed to refresh my nonfiction TBR because I was running out. But yeah, super, super excited about all these books. I really hope I'll read at least half of them this year. I think that will happen, especially the English language books, because those are the books that, because I purchased them, it means that like they're the most like I want to read these right now kind of books. So yeah, super, super excited about these. I hope you're also excited to see me read these throughout the year. And then if any of these sound interesting, definitely look them up, add them to your own TBR, and then tell me what you think. So yeah, I'm so excited about these books. I'm super, super excited about 2024 and creating new content for you guys, and then talking to you guys, because that's the best part of this channel. Absolutely love it. So yeah, super excited for what's to come, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.